guys, what's up? Man, that sounds so cool. How you guys doing?
Great. Actually, we're listening to one of the audio tracks used in Fury Strike.
Everyone, you remember Patrick. He's our professor here at Full Sail University for game development. And of course, Daniel. He's our lead producer / designer on the game Fury Strike. So Patrick, what are we getting into today?
We're going to talk a little bit about audio and composing and how you do it for a video game.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine how much that goes into that.
A lot goes into it, more than just us two, that's for sure. Actually, we have a couple of guys over on Skype, our audio engineers, if you'd like to talk to them.
No way.
Yeah.
Let's go check it out. Hey guys, how you doing? You're our audio engineers, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm Serena, and I did the mastering for the game.
My name is Nick, and I did the sound design and the mixing for all the music.
So tell me, how did you get started with the music for the game?
I met Daniel at a global game jam, and then he asked me to do the sound design for this game, and then he asked me to do the mixing for the game.
And Nick asked me to do the mastering because typically the mixer and the master, and they don't do the same thing.
So Patrick, I play video games and I've heard music over and over and over again. What's something that you guys do to make the music interesting every single time that you play it?
Well, unlike a movie where it's linear from start to finish and you know exactly what it's going to happen at any given time, in a video game, a player can do anything and go anywhere, so you never know what they're going to hit at any given time. So you have what's called a dynamic audio track. So depending on what the player does, it always changes and reacts to the player's actions.
So I know you guys are the audio engineers of the whole entire project, but did you guys compose the music too?
We did not.
Actually, the music composer is my brother. He lives in Colombia, South America, and once he had all the tracks ready, he sent them to these guys for mixing and mastering.
What did you guys do as soon as you guys got the tracks?
As a mixing engineer, I was in charge of putting all the instruments together and getting the best blend.
Beat down!
And then once I got it, I cleaned everything up frequency-wise so that all the instruments were heard and clear. Then I basically took the loudness level of the song and made it industry standard for what goes into a video game.
So what did you guys do to spice the music up to make it more interesting every time that you play the game?
The composer would send us the tracks. Take a guitar track, for instance, he would send to us, and it's got one tone all the way through. So what I would do is I would automate the EQ on it to where I have a section here a little bit less energetic or a little bit less bright than maybe a section of the climactic part of the game. And then once the game and the level gets intense and finishing off, it'll get much more intense, much brighter. All the instruments will come in and then it finishes off.
And then as far as mastering, I would take basically a blanket EQ over the whole song, and I would really bring out the frequencies of the instruments that he was trying to showcase in his original mix.
Next up, we're gonna find out how we actually create a song. So Daniel, I saw your visual mood board. Did you actually make an audio mood board?
What we did was set up a YouTube playlist with songs from the 80s that matched the mood that we wanted for each level.
80s pop and 80s rock, like Van Halen for a lot of the guitar-heavy songs.
Definite 80s synth.
And I shared those songs with the composer so he could get inspiration and create the music for our levels.
So you talked about characters having two different songs. Do they have their own motivations in their songs?
Absolutely, yes. The main protagonists have their own motivations of growing up in a rural area and fighting for revenge, as to where some of the antagonists and some of the bigger characters have their songs with more towards their background, I should say.
So we've met Toby, our level 1 character. Can you tell a little bit more about Toby?
Toby is the first character you have to face when you start story mode in the game. His goal here is to actually stop the hero from going into this path of vengeance. But he's also a joker, so we're trying to incorporate all of these elements into the song.
So what were some song references for Toby's character?
Well, because it's also the beginning of the story, we want something that kicks in and sets the player in the 80s mood. So we looked into songs such as Eye of the Tiger, Hungry Like the Wolf, and that's kind of what we went for with his inspiration.
So it sounds like you guys have to make the music for each of the levels recognizable for the characters. How did you guys do that?
We'll take Toby in particular. So for Toby's level, I put heavy emphasis on the drum set, just because he's more of a heavy set dojo guy. You want to feel more of the percussion set. versus Typhoon, where he is the main antagonist. His theme has a heavy emphasis on the guitars, because he's this big looming destruction character.
Can we hear it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can really hear the difference between the two characters. I mean, I know the game starts with Toby and ends with Typhoon, but still you can really get the different feel of the characters, and it really encompasses the way they look and everything. You guys did a good job. So I know our composer lives in South America, and these guys, they live in Seattle, Washington. How did you guys communicate?
Well, outsourcing is a really important part of video game development in general. We work with people from all over the world, and one of the most important things is to establish a mode of communication, and whether it be Skype or email or even conference calls. The time zones are the biggest hindrance when you have different countries. The time zones, sometimes it's day versus night. So that's where clear lines of communication are the most important thing that you can establish when you're doing outsourcing. Having the ability to reach the people that are doing the work, give them feedback on the work that they're doing, and then have a proper turnaround without having 2 or 3 days lag is critical. That'll make the difference between a successful outsourcing endeavor and a failed outsourcing endeavor.
So specifically, how did you guys communicate?
For the whole team, we had set up a Google Drive repository where we share all the design documents, all the mood boards, the concept art, and specifically with them, all the tracks the composer has been creating. For communications, we use a lot of Skype, also Discord. We have a Discord server set up with different channels for art, programming, sound, and that's where they will do most of the communicating.
It takes a lot of practice, and there's a lot of things that go into it. You don't realize it until you've actually done it. Communication, languages, different connections in different countries, they have different internet. So sometimes you have problems uploading large files.
That just sounds like a whole bunch of issues. What's the benefits of it then?
Well, from a creative standpoint, you get to work with people all over the world. You get to build a global team, as opposed to saying, I'm going to take the best people in my area.
That's
You
true.
get to say, I'm going to take the best people in the entire world, I'm going to put them together, and I'm going to create a game using that talent.
Yeah, so it's a worldwide effort. So for you guys, was it difficult working off-site?
It could be a little challenging at times just because we didn't have an exact idea of what the game direction it was going to and what it looked like for some of the levels. But at the same time, it was really fun, really easy, because Daniel and Eduardo both had a very clear vision of what they wanted, and they communicated to us extremely well, and we were just like, okay, we'll do it for you.
So it sounds like if you do it right, outsourcing can be a huge benefit to any project.
Absolutely.
Oh man, today has been so cool. These guys making video game music across the world, mind-blowing. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to learn about degrees here at Full Sail University, be sure to visit fullsail.edu.